Welcome back, everybody. Episode 8, Season 4.
Yeah.
No, Root Beer doesn't believe.
I have 7.
I have 7.
Okay, Episode 7, Season 4. Maybe I did an episode and you guys weren't here.
Highly unlikely.
Or he was dreaming of this one here.
That's right. That's right.
Also possible.
The voice you hear, ladies and gentlemen, is the one and only Wendel Viana. How are you, Wendell?
Excellent. How about you?
I'm good. So you're today's guest, and he is a fan of the podcast. And for the record, so everybody knows out there, Wendell made it a point to say that he got to know the crowdlending people via the podcast.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I mean, we've been working together for, over 2 years, and all the closings I never got to attend or for whatever reason.
Too busy.
And then I had appointments here before, but we ended up, meetings at other places just to be more convenient for me because I'm from the North Shore.
Yeah.
So coming here is a ride.
Yeah.
So the minute I found out about the podcast, why not get to know them,
And you are a raffle winner from a networking event that Root Beer put together.
Yes, indeed.
Yeah.
And that's one of the things I believe is with positive thinking. I was like, the first one that was with you guys, I think was maybe 3 months ago. You had an event I attended for the first time. And that's where I met Nick and Paul. And from that point on, we stayed in touch for the next event. I was like, I want to be there. I want to be part of it.
Yeah.
And as they were raffling, I was like, that's me next. And,
you manifested it.
That's it. That's it.
That's like a big buzzword. We're going to manifest. I'm going to manifest it. Make it happen.
Manifesto.
I don't believe it.
I do.
You do?
Yeah.
So my first I'm going to tell you this is my first introduction to the word manifest and manifesting was a prior podcast guest's daughter was trying to get into a college, and she was manifesting it. She was wearing the sweatshirts and the hats, and she was watching the games on TV, and she didn't get in.
Oh.
So for me, manifesting died that day.
Well, I think it's not like a specific, rule that it will always work.
Right.
But I do believe that you attract what you wish for.
What you put out there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mhm.
I think this study says that let's say if you're driving and you're kind of, I'm not gonna hit the wall. I'm gonna hit the wall. Next thing you know, you hit the wall.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Isn't there?
Yeah. So there's a big in golf. They never say to stand on the tee and say, don't hit it in the water, because your brain can't understand the word don't. So all your brain hears is hit it in the water. And then your brain tells your body what to do. So similar thing, don't hit the wall. Your brain can't understand that negative word. So they teach you as you go through golf, if you are a golfer, they teach you, they should be teaching you, your coaches should be saying, talk about hitting it in the fairway, not where you don't want the ball to go. Talk about where you want the ball to go. Talk about where you want the car to go.
So you do practice manifesting.
Right.
Well, I do it every morning when I drive to work. Love my job. Love my job. Love my job. Love my job.
That sounds like you're just trying to convince yourself to go to a terrible situation.
To not drive into the...
Yeah, to not drive into the wall.
I'm manifesting.
Oh, my goodness. Well, let's talk about the job a little bit here. So, Wendell, we'll kind of give you, I know you already listened to the show, but we're going to talk a little bit up front. Then we'll get into you. We'll break down your whole life, how you got there, how you got where you are now, all the little nudges, whether it's teachers, coaches, parents, mentors, whatever it may be, good and bad experiences that may have led you to where you are now. But before that, because crowd lending pays all the bills around here, we want to cover some crowd lending stuff. So, Keithy, can you give us a quick update on 2024 and what crowd lending's doing?
Yeah, we're flying.
Woo, baby.
Started off quick.
Watch out.
January, 20 loans in the books, 14.8 million, 6 million in construction.
Wow.
It's a good month.
14, and by comparison, ladies and gentlemen, I think we did about 6 million last January. So year over year, as the Warren, the real estate data firm, the Warren Group likes to talk about year over year. They're big on year. If you follow, they're big on year over year.
Why, oh, why?
Why, oh, why?
Wow, Walshy.
Whoa. That's what I say every time I wake up. Why, oh, why?
Why am I doing this?
Why am I getting out of bed again? Why, oh, why? Okay, so January, great month.
Great month, January.
Yeah.
And February's not far behind right now. We're at 11.3.
Okay.
in loan originations and 6.2 in construction.
So what you're saying there is just saying that the total loan amount, once they're fully drawn, is that $11.3 million number. But as part of our fundings, we're holding back the 6.2 and change or whatever.
Exactly.
Got it.
Yep.
Got it. And then we're going to manage, more specifically, you're going to manage that construction process.
I am.
Very interesting stuff.
It is. It's amazing.
Crowd lending, just getting it done.
Yeah, send me
getting
an
it
email.
done.
I'll tell you all about it. Keith at crowdlending.com.
So I don't know if you know this, Wendell, but Keithy and I coach hockey too, high school hockey together.
All right.
And playoffs are right around the corner.
Oh, baby.
Yeah. So for like the next 3 weeks, we're not going to do any work.
Nope.
All we're going to do is
Game film.
watch high school girls play hockey. That's what we're going to do.
When do they start?
So we have one more game today. Today being Thursday the 22nd. This podcast will probably drop tomorrow. And then our first game is Thursday night. It's actually the leap year. I was going to say March 1st, but it's February 29th, 5:10 at the Bog Ice Arena in Kingston. We don't know who our opponent's going to be just yet, but that's
Doesn't matter.
that's it.
Doesn't
That's about
matter.
how
So
they-
we're going to
how-
manifest a win.
There you go. How are the odds looking?
You know, we've got a good chance. We've got a good team. We've got experience. But you always need some luck in a championship run, and we hope we get it.
Absolutely.
That's what I'm going to say, so I don't give anybody any bulletin board materials. All the opponents out there listening to the podcast. Root Bear's got a new role here at Crowd Lending, something we should be happy about, right, Root Bear?
Yeah, very happy.
Excited?
What's the new role?
Oh, yeah. What did we give you a title?
Is there a name?
Director of
Director.
Marketing.
That's right.
Wow.
It should be Marketing Director.
Fancy.
Is it Director of Marketing or Marketing Director?
I like director of marketing.
You do?
Yeah, that sounds more official.
I like Marketing Director, but see, that's the English, that's the writer in me, because the more direct way is Marketing Director instead of Director of Marketing.
Let me think about it.
All right, you think about it.
That's exciting.
Yeah, they
Congratulations.
both those positions pay the same, so it's so. But yeah, we're very excited.
See how the logo looks better, right? In the
Yeah.
marketing department, see how
Yeah.
that,
Yeah,
the flow,
Right.
which
Yeah.
one looks better.
it's so we're pumped. We're really really excited. So,
I have a question. Is
Oh.
this a new position that was just created, or is she taking over someone else's role?
So it is a new position that's been created to take our marketing department to the next level.
Awesome.
Amy took it to a level. She's been here 4 years. 4 years?
3
3 years. She took it to a level. Now she's going to take it to the next level.
to the moon.
Ooh.
Oh,
Oh, man.
I used to say that to
Marlene.
no, to Rose, to my Rose. I say I love you to the moon and back. There was like there's a book, To the Moon and Back, little children's book.
That's really sweet.
Yeah. Rosie still says goodnight to me every night too.
You call her Rosie?
Rose, my Rose.
My Rose.
I had
know
some other
that.
choice names that I was calling her the other day, but she didn't like that. She got on the wrong side of me, I'll tell you. We're not going to cover that story, but smarten up, Rose. All right. Do you guys know this guy? So, do you guys know this guy, Alec Honnold? Honnold. He was the guy that was in that movie Free Solo.
Oh, yeah. Great
You ever
movie.
see that movie?
I have
Free
not.
Solo. Okay, so Free Solo is a documentary, and essentially this guy Alec, might be Alex, but Honnold, Honnold. How would you say that last name?
hmm
Honnold?
Just like that. Yeah.
Wendell?
I'm not gonna try. Yeah.
Okay.
Go with that.
Why? Because English is not your first language, or why not?
As well.
Okay.
I would stick with what you said.
Honnold.
Too.
Okay. Anyway, so he did Free Solo. So Free Solo, he climbed some impossibly steep face of a mountain with nothing, no
Comes the free solo.
Free Solo. So this documentary, it's an amazing documentary. It documents his whole path and how he'd go up a little, come back, and he mapped it all the way out. And I forget the name of the wall that he climbed, but it was amazing story. So anyway, I watched that, and then he's got another show called Arctic Ascent, where he goes to like Greenland and climbs another incredible wall. He doesn't do this free solo. He does this with safety and all this stuff, but he's got two other climbers with him. And this is my point of my story. It's a great show. Both shows are great. That one's called Arctic Ascent. I think it's on Smithsonian Channel, which is like one of 3 channels. Do you watch TV?
No, just on demand.
That's it. No TV.
No.
No cable in your house.
No.
So you're watching Netflix. What else?
Hulu,
Hulu
YouTube.
but no Fubo. So you don't watch any regular, nothing with a commercial.
Correct.
Yeah, that's Marlene's big. She can't stand the commercials now. I'm like, you are so spoiled. You can't watch a 30-second commercial. I hate shows with commercials, she says. But I don't mind it. I don't mind the commercials. It gives me a chance to like.
Check your phone.
Yeah. Scroll. So this guy's climbing this mountain, and it's clearly. So what happens is that they have to take planes, trains, and automobiles and boats just to get to this place. And through the course of that, they end up losing a bunch of their climbing gear. Like some of them don't have the right climbing shoes, so they don't have the right lines and clips and ropes and blah, all this crazy stuff. So they start to climb, and this guy's ever the optimist. He's like, yeah, we can handle it. But one of the guys, it's him, 3 climbers, Alex, another guy, and then a woman. And the guy says, we can't do this. It's not safe. I'm out. Okay. Alex convinces the woman to continue up. Now, to get to where they're going, nobody in the world has ever been to the top of this wall. Ever in the world. If you're the guy that stays behind, are you hoping they fail?
100%.
I mean, it's a good question. Are you hoping they fail?
No.
No, it's a life and death thing. No.
Okay.
I hope they live but fail.
So you want them to fall. You don't want them to make the climb. You want them to also have to come down?
Yeah.
But you don't want them to fall.
I don't want them to die.
Okay.
I mean, yeah.
No, I want them to do it.
You want them to do it.
Yeah. Why should they not just because you were
Because.
afraid for your life? Maybe he had more to lose. Maybe he had a family, kids.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm sure there's a lot that goes into the decision, but I can. Maybe this is a bad side of me, but I would have been like, oh, I hope they don't get there.
100%.
I don't want them to die. I'm with you guys. Like, I don't want them to die. But, like, I want them to go a little bit further. Be like, you know what? You were right. We got to get off this mountain. And they did it. I mean, they climbed this thing. I couldn't believe it. I mean, you should see the show, Arctic Ascent.
And the other guy waiting in the bottom?
The other guy waited at the bottom. Yeah, because he can't get out of there. It's not like he called an Uber. He's in the middle. I see. Wendell's flipping sides here.
No, I'm not flipping sides. I'm just thinking, like, you're watching. I could have been there as well.
Yeah, but I chickened out. Yeah.
More to lose.
He was the guy, and actually it was funny as I was watching it. And this goes a little bit into what we were talking about with like manifesting. You could see, because he was like, oh, this isn't safe. Oh, look at this foothold. Look at this anchor. Whatever.
Convincing himself not to do it.
Convincing and then influencing the girl. So what was happening was the guy Alex is an incredible climber, right? And not a lot of people can keep up with this guy. So he would go first, and he would blaze the trail, and then he would put in the anchors, and then they would shimmy up on the lines. Like he was the first guy to go up, right? So he would go up. They would then come up, and then they would meet. The man and the woman would meet, and he would be up higher, and then they would start talking. And he was starting to influence her, like, this isn't safe, we shouldn't be doing this, da-da-da-da-da-da. So you could almost see, like, it almost made you feel like, oh, my God, this whole thing is going to fail because this guy is making it fail and almost, like, wants it to fail.
So maybe if he had continued, they wouldn't have made it to the top.
Yeah.
The woman wouldn't have made it to the top.
Yeah.
So maybe he did them a favor by sitting back.
Yeah, because he was being a bad influence on her. And she was starting to doubt her ability to climb the mountain. And the other guy, Alex, he's like a spider monkey. He just like up the side of things. It's unbelievable. I mean, it's like, whoo, it's unbelievable.
See, now I want to watch it just for that.
Yeah, well, they should make sure, like, when you're watching it, make that noise in your head. It's so much. But like when he was, especially the free solo, like, so they'd show him go up a little bit, and then when he had like the route, he was like he was walking up this mountain. It was unbelievable. It was unbelievable to watch this guy climb. But no fear. You know, he ended up getting, I think he had a girlfriend or get married. He might have kids now, but he's got like no fear.
Is it route or route?
It's a route.
It's not a route?
How do you say it?
Route.
Route.
I don't know. I think route for me is like the road, but then in the mountains I'll call it route.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Which route are you taking?
Which route are you taking?
Route 44. Route 24.
Tomato. Potato.
I like Wendell's take on it.
Yeah, it's.
If you're not driving.
What's the route?
What's the route?
I don't know. You guys, you know what an ask hole is?
What is the word?
An ask hole?
Ask hole?
Yeah, ask hole.
Ask hole?
An ask hole.
I do not, Dan.
Someone that asks for your advice but never takes it.
Mm.
They're an ask hole. Get it?
I got it.
All right, I gotta. So I do watch some TV. I hope you don't hold that against me, but I do watch some TV, and I like history shows. I like superlative shows that we talked about last week, but I also like mafia shows.
Those are good.
I heard a really cool mafia story, if there is such a thing as a cool mafia story. And it wasn't a show. It was like I follow something on the Insta. It's like mafia stories or something. So
Just watch a movie one night.
Huh?
On my way back from Brazil 2 weeks ago, I watched a movie that was about Boston.
Which one? Departed?
No, Mass or Black Mass.
Black Mass.
Yeah.
Great book.
Yeah. Did you like the book?
I like the book.
So here's what I'll say about good story.
Yeah.
About the mafia in South Boston and Whitey Bulger and heroin and all that stuff. I didn't like the book.
Okay.
I thought the book was poorly written because it was written. It was written in the style of a bunch of newspaper articles thrown together.
Yeah.
So it almost, to me, looked, and it was written by a reporter.
Yeah.
That had reported for years for the Boston Globe, or maybe it was the Herald, whatever it was, and he essentially took all the stories and put them in a book, and it looked like it was a newspaper that had been written, in a week, instead of.
Yeah.
Wasn't a very well written book.
Instead of like a
I couldn't even get through
story.
it. I couldn't even get through it. I had to put the book down. But the movie's good. Movie's better than the book. That's what I'll say. So I'm listening to this story, and they're interviewing a former mafia guy and a son of a mafia guy, and so the interviewer says, "What define extortion? Like, how would you extort somebody?" So he says, well, let me tell you a story. There was a guy down in the neighborhood that had a pizza shop, and it was a very successful pizza shop, and he had opened up 2 or 3 locations, and my father, this is the guy now telling the story, he said, my father, who was the gangster, worked for him so that he could have a W-2 and show taxes. And so one day, 3 guys walk in that he had never met before, walk into the store owner, the pizza shop owner, and they say, hey, looks like you're doing really well here. We're in charge of this neighborhood. You're going to have to pay us $200,000, and you're going to have to pay us $1,000 a month if you want to stay open. So the shop owner knows that this guy's father that he's got on the books is also connected to the mafia, and so he goes to him and says, hey, these 3 guys, they came, they demanded $200,000 plus $100,000 a month, and the mafia father says, okay, let me look into it. Let me figure out what's going on here, and I'll get back to you. So a couple weeks goes by, and the mafia guy comes back, and he says, okay, Mr. Pizza owner, they are in fact real guys. They're from Philadelphia. They're real guys, but I know them, and as a result of me knowing them, you only have to pay $100,000 and $500,000 a week. And here's the better thing. You don't have to give it to them. You never have to see them again. You give it to me, and I'll give it to them. We run in the same circles. So now, fast forward, you probably know the end of the story here. Fast forward 30 years down the road, that guy is now on trial, and it comes out that there were no 3 guys from Philadelphia. And he was the guy that was extorting the pizza owner. Wow. But he made it seem like he was helping the pizza owner out. And he took $100,000 from the pizza owner plus $500 a month for like 25 years.
Insane.
And the pizza guy was grateful to give it to him.
Yeah.
Imagine that.
Crazy.
He was grateful. He thought the guy did him a favor. Meanwhile, he set the whole thing up. He knew the guy. He sent the guys in from Philadelphia. Isn't that amazing?
I mean.
So think about how smart that is.
Yeah.
That guy could have used that for something good. I'm gonna. That's my closing story, so I'm gonna leave that one alone. You got any jokes, Keithy?
I do. Yep,
Okay.
I do. Some good ones today.
Oh yeah.
I'll start off slow.
Okay.
All right. Are you
This
good
is where
at?
most of the editing happens. I marked this timestamp down.
Are you good at algebra?
Yeah. Why? What do you need help?
Yeah. I was hoping you could replace my ex without asking why.
I like that one. It was cute.
Went with the cute one for. I'll go with the other one. That's okay. I'll say. What do you call a gender neutral person that is lactose intolerant?
I don't know the answer.
Non-bi-dairy.
So bad. Oh man.
That's all I have today. Today was a slow day for me. Sorry.
Okay. Yeah, I was down the pool the other day.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. I took a pee in the deep end. The lifeguard blew his whistle so loud I almost fell in.
Well, have I heard? Did you do this last week?
I did it off.
That's what it was. I'm like,
Off air.
I'm like, I heard this.
I tried it out.
I heard this. Oh, it was yesterday you said this joke.
I tried it out. I like that one. There was in Europe there was a king that was only 12 inches tall. Wasn't a great king, but he was a great ruler. Oh man, you like that one?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's cute, right?
Cute.
So a young lady, unmarried young lady, comes home, and she's very, very nervous, and she tells her mother that she's missed her, she missed her period for 2 months straight. So the mother gets very, very nervous, and takes her to the hospital, and they do a pregnancy test, and sure enough, she's pregnant. The mother is furious. The mother and father, they are furious. Who did this to you? I want to know the man that did this to you. So the young lady jumps on the phone. She picks up the phone. Short time later, beautiful Rolls Royce pulls up into the driveway. Very distinguished older man gets out. Beautiful gray silver fox hair and Rolex watches and shiny shoes and just dripping of money, right? Dripping of money. And he comes into the house and he says to the mother and father, I understand the situation. However, I can't marry your daughter because of my current family situation. But if she has a daughter, I will bequeath that daughter $10 million. If she has a son, I will bequeath that son 2 of my companies. And if she has a miscarriage, what do you think I should do? And the father leans over and says, try again. I like that one. All right. I got a couple more stories, but I'm going to wait for them. I'm going to hold them. And we're going to get into Wendel.
Yes.
All right.
Now, so I will say this. We tend to have a lot of fun around here. Do you know the song Mr. Wendel?
I actually got to know the song about 15 years ago.
Okay.
It's a drunk guy.
No.
That's the one I know.
Mr. Wendel. Yeah, Arrested Development. Yeah, actually, he's a drunk guy. You're right. Yeah, the lyrics. Yeah. Yeah, Mr. Wendel. So, whenever I get an email for you, that song plays in my head. I want you to know that.
All right.
Not that I think you're a drunk guy, although they did drink some fine liquors today, but just that the name, Mr. Wendel. Yeah, it's a good song.
Yeah.
Arrested Development. You don't know that song, do you, Amy?
No.
Make sure you play it on the podcast.
Yeah,
I will. I'll put it in.
Yeah. All right, Mr. Wendel. Where were you born?
I was born in Brazil, the south part of Brazil, which is just as cold as Boston.
Really?
Yes.
Never would have known that.
Nope.
And that's why I like to point it out. Actually, I say to people it's even colder because the homes there, they're not equipped like it is here.
Yeah.
Cars, yeah, but the places are not. So you feel colder than you are here.
Really?
Absolutely.
Is it as cold? Is it as cold for as long?
No.
No.
I would say shorter, maybe 2 months or 3.
Okay.
But like, I was there 2 years ago, between July and August.
Yeah.
Where in summer here, it was super cold there. I was getting around 30s.
Really?
And I was not equipped for that.
Yeah.
So everyone, all my uncles, cousins were laughing at me. Oh, look at, because they call me the American. 'Cause I've been here for 24 years now. And
Look at the American.
yeah, look at you. What do you mean? Like, you guys get snow over there, feet of snow, and now you're cold. I'm like, yeah, but I walk on shorts in the house, no shirt, eating ice cream with no problem.
Right.
Because I don't feel cold. My car has a remote starter.
Right.
My house is, it's heated. But yeah, that's where I'm from, southern part of Brazil.
So I had no idea. I just figured all of Brazil was warm all the time.
No,
With like models walking around.
well, there are a lot of those. Yeah,
Yeah,
I
beautiful women.
I got to marry one.
Ah, look at you.
Yeah.
Ah.
You did. She's so sweet.
Yes. You did meet her on the last event.
Yeah.
But if you think about it, right, Brazil is long.
Yeah.
And the equator line is all the way to the top.
Yep.
So the further down you are, cold as it gets.
Makes sense. Makes
Yes.
perfect sense if I just thought about it.
No different than the U.S., right?
Right.
U.S. If you go down to Florida.
It's warmer. Closer to the equator.
Right.
Yeah. Learn something new every day, though. Right?
Yeah.
So, brothers and sisters?
I got an older brother.
And that's it.
That's it. Just one.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
And how long were you in Brazil before? So how old are you now?
I'm 36.
Okay. So the first 12 years of your life, you were in Brazil.
Yes.
Okay. So tell me a little bit about that.
What would you like to know?
I don't know. You tell me. So is the schooling system the same? Do you go to school at the 5th grade? Do you have for 5 years old? Is it the same?
Yeah, the starting part is the same. The difference there is the length of time that you spend in school, because you go to school in the morning or in the afternoon. I was never a morning person, so I always chose to go in the afternoon. So after lunch, that's when I go to school. It'll be like from 1 to 5.
And you got to choose.
Yes, you got to choose. Whenever your parents were enrolling you, you got to, okay, if you go to the morning, it's going to be from 8 to, I think, 12.
Yeah.
And then the afternoon, that's all the time.
Really?
Yes, and then eventually, like as you get older, there were options for night school too. If you like 8th grade, 7th grade, to get to go at night, mostly at high school, but there were options for a night as well.
Wow, that's very different than here.
So the amount of hours that you study on a daily basis, it's less.
It's less.
Mm-hmm.
So, and you do that schooling up till, so what's that, like 11 years old? That's about my son's age. So like 5th, 6th grade?
Yeah, so I had just, because we came here in March of 2000, and the school calendar year there, school starts right about in February.
Okay.
Because of the seasons there, so they want to make sure the kids have the summer off.
So what is the summer in Brazil, in southern Brazil?
Well, what is it?
Like what months? Yeah, what months?
It's the opposite of here.
It's opposite,
so
yeah.
Winter here, it's summer there.
Okay.
So it'll be December, January, the hottest months.
Hottest month. So that's like July, August here.
Exactly.
Got it. Okay.
Yeah.
So you would have those months off. Your school year would start February and take you through when?
Right about October, end of October to November, beginning of November.
Okay.
Yeah.
And when you're in Brazil, are you playing any sports growing up?
Oh yes, I played soccer pretty much almost every day.
Yeah.
'Cause we lived on a neighborhood. It was a dead-end street. Not street, but a neighborhood. There was like 7 dead-end streets. So there was one main entrance, and then there's all, about 50 or 60 homes. And then there was, a soccer field, playground, all that stuff.
In the neighborhood.
In the neighborhood, yeah.
And all the kids would go down and play soccer.
Yeah, so let's say if you were one of the kids that went to school in the afternoon, you'd be playing in the morning with the same friends, and then vice versa, right? If you attend school in the morning, in the afternoon, that's when you'd be playing.
So you could, I know you'd know them, but someone could live a street over or 2 houses over, and if they were the flip, you wouldn't be hanging out with them.
No, well, you would, because again, I would arrive home just about around 5 o'clock, 6 o'clock, and we'd still hang out probably until like 7 or 8 at night.
Yeah.
Because it's daytime still.
Yeah.
And we tend to have the culture has late dinners.
Okay.
So dinner it's not served until like 8 or so.
Wow.
And because I don't have to wake up early in the morning, I didn't have to go to bed early.
Right. You're up partying all night.
not partying, but
Just tearing it up. Streets of Brazil.
Let's say if we have dinner at 8 something, by the time you shower and then it was also part of the culture. The soap operas, very big.
What is it?
Soap operas,
Soap operas?
novellas.
What is that?
It's like
a soap opera.
there you go.
Oh, the television show.
Yeah, yes.
Oh.
It's the accent.
Oh, okay.
So
Yeah.
you watch those at night?
Yes, it's like, well, nowadays I'm not sure how it goes, but back then it was very, very popular that you watch it with the family. Yes.
Wow.
I
All right.
watched those when I was little.
So that's like 90210 when we were growing up, Keithy.
Or MASH when I was growing up.
It's MASH, like you're 111
like
years old.
Days of Our Lives.
Yeah, but those are
Passions.
daytime. Those are daytime.
I think that's different. We're talking like
General Hospital.
Seinfeld.
No, I think you're talking
Telenovelas. That's a soap opera.
Yeah.
It's like Days of Our Lives.
at night.
Yeah.
Right, but what I'm saying, you're saying it's so okay. We're saying the same thing. You're saying the shows are similar, but the times that they are on TV are different.
Right.
Like I can remember coming home from school, and my sisters would be watching General Hospital every day, and that was on from like 2 to 3 or 3 to 4 or whatever, because we would go to school from 8 in the morning till 2 in the afternoon or whatever it was. Okay.
Yeah, but that's like sports wise for me. I think soccer was huge, just again culture wise, but it was like through phases every time. Like the neighborhood, like okay, now everybody's skateboarding, and then 2 months later, everyone is we like to play with kites.
Yep.
We did a lot of that.
So much different than. Do you have children now?
I do have two.
How old are they?
One is 9, the other one is 6.
Okay, so are they in sports?
One of them is, the other one quit.
The 9 or the 6?
The 6.
Called it retired.
Well, she's still kind of finding herself. She
Yeah.
kind of just goes with the flow. Like, oh, my friend is doing soccer. Let me join her.
Yeah.
Then she doesn't like it. Okay, my sister is doing this. Let me try that. And
Well, at least she's trying things.
yeah, absolutely.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Keithy, what are your kids? Right around the same.
9 and 6.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, but it sounds like sports. The soccer wasn't organized like it is here,
Uh,
or was
It
it? Or you tell me.
so the daily things were not.
Yeah.
There were no championships in school, per se, as it is here. But we did have like the town team, so we would play. We would organize ourselves. There was an older friend of ours there. Was our coach.
Yeah.
So, I left at 12, but let's say I was training around 19 years old, and then there were different age groups, and he was probably maybe early 20s, and he
Yeah.
would come in and coach us, and then we would play against the other neighborhoods.
Right.
Yeah, and then at that time, it wasn't, we'd buy ourselves medals,
Yeah.
and then play against whoever wins gets the medals,
Yeah.
or everyone would just kind of rally up for I don't know, let's call it $1,
Yeah.
and buy whoever the losing team would have to buy a 2-liter Coke for each player
For the winning team.
for the winning team.
Yeah.
So yeah, that was
That's great.
Love that.
That's great.
I love that.
That's how sports should be.
Yeah.
yeah.
Nowadays, it's not like that. That's a whole nother podcast. So I mean, obviously, a huge nudge in your life was moving from Brazil to America.
100%.
So how does that go down?
First, my uncle moves here, and then my aunt, and at the time I only had one son, moves, and then stays in touch with my parents, and then my parents start the process, which was long process back then. There was no internet like it is today. Like you can just Google how do you get your visa, you had to kind of hire the what's it called agents to do it for you,
Okay.
and almost happened like the mafia, right? The extortion.
Right. Yeah.
Right? Oh yeah, I need more pictures. I need more money. I
Yeah.
need more fees.
Right.
It was like a 3 years process.
Yeah. And
Uh,
every time they came, they said, "I need another picture of your son, and I need another $300."
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, you can't do plaid shirt. Oh, you have to be. Oh, can do a colorful background.
Yeah.
Just making up stuff. And I was telling all my friends in school, I'm going to the United States because we were watching the movies, right? We seen the snow, the white picket fence homes,
Yeah.
single family homes. Yeah, that's what I'm going to be living there.
Yeah.
And
And you were like the boy that cried wolf. Like, yeah, sure you are, buddy. You've been saying it for 3 years.
Exactly. So eventually that started happening, but that didn't bother me because I knew eventually it was going to happen, and,
Yeah.
and then it did, and it was a big shock in culture for sure because I came in, I spoke no English. I didn't care. My parents didn't care to learn the language before we came.
Right.
I barely knew, hi and bye. I knew how to say I don't speak English. And I got my little cousin. He was like, I don't know, 4 or 5 at the time, to translate for us.
Yeah.
Whenever we went out.
And he had moved earlier with your uncle and I.
Exactly. He was already here for 3 years, so he came in as a baby.
Yeah.
So he spoke fluently. But he didn't like translating at all. But that was huge shock. But I was all in. I wanted to do the change.
Yeah.
My brother is older, so he was already getting the teenage years. He didn't want to come. For him, it was a little bit harder.
I bet.
But again, once I was here, I just made friends and kind of joined into the culture itself.
So where do you move? What town do you move into?
Beautiful Somerville.
Somerville. All right. And was that where your uncle was? Is that why you went there?
That's where he was. Yes.
And what was your father's profession? What did he do when he came to America to try to make a buck?
Oh, okay. So in Brazil, he was electrician.
Okay.
But here he couldn't be electrician, so he found pretty much whatever he could. I think my parents worked together. They were during the day, they would work at a cleaning company.
Yep.
So doing homes and offices cleaning. And then at night, they had a part-time job delivering newspapers.
Okay, so they were both doing it.
Yes.
They were both to try to make ends meet to survive.
Yes, absolutely, yes. And even I got to join them, and as well as their friends as well whenever they needed help on the weekends, because the Sunday paper was big, heavy. So I got to make some extra bucks, and that's how I learned how to drive, as a matter of fact.
Oh, really?
On the newspaper routes, absolutely.
You remember routes? He said. I don't know if you noticed it. But did you ever hear Keithy's story about the newspapers? He was a newspaper boy.
I was.
Yeah.
I was really good at it.
Yeah. He used to take all the newspapers and throw them in the woods.
I delivered them. I don't know what happened to them.
All the complaints would come in.
Yeah.
Where's my paper?
Where's my paper? Yeah, where's my paper? So how long does it take you, and sort of what's the process of learning the English language at 12? I mean, you're full immersion at that point, right? I mean, you just kind of thrown into the schools and said, survive.
So luckily, I don't know if it's luckily or not, because but anyways, because Somerville was highly populated with Portuguese speakers, they had a bilingual program.
Okay.
Where teachers spoke Portuguese.
Okay.
So it was kind of easy into it, where some of the classes, the teachers would speak Portuguese, and the classes that they would be English only, the teachers were, it's called ESL, English as a second language.
Yeah.
They already knew there was all immigrants in the class from all over the world, where they had to be more patient in teaching those kids. So I think that for me, because I was being sort of laid back with school, it was, I don't know, 9 months to a year to feel confident about it. Because again, I come here in March. I don't get into school probably until May.
Yeah.
So I only go to school for a month.
Yeah.
And
then it's summertime. Yeah.
And there's vacation. Then I spend my whole time just at the pool with the friends that I had,
Yeah.
And then back in September, that's when it kind of gets real.
And so what grade is that?
6th grade.
6th grade. Okay, so you're essentially starting middle school.
Mm-hmm.
And do you go all the way through middle school in Somerville and high school, or do you end up moving?
I moved on my sophomore year
of high school.
Yes, I went to Everett.
Okay, and how much older is your brother than you are?
3.5 years.
Okay, so he was out of high school at that point for that move?
No, he was a senior and I was a freshman. Yes.
So he was still in high school.
Yes.
So he had 2 tough moves then.
Yes.
I mean, that's a tough senior year. Has got to be a tough move.
But he didn't move.
He didn't move schools
because he was already driving, so he stayed in Somerville.
Okay.
And actually, I did that drive for my freshman year because the soccer team was really good in Somerville.
Okay.
And I was part of the soccer team.
Yeah.
But then that year, all the good players had graduated. I'm like, I'm out. I can't do this. And it was waking up at 6 or 5 in the morning to go to school.
Yeah.
We had practice before school. I'm like, I can't do this, man.
Yeah. I'm out.
And it was walking distance for me to Everett High.
So you saw it right there.
And I'm like, I can't do it, man.
Yeah.
You done it good. I know, but
I love that you stuck around one extra year to try to win a championship. I like that.
Absolutely, yes.
So as you're going through middle school and high school, are there any teachers or coaches or anybody that sort of any experiences that sort of jump out at you?
I'm trying to remember here on teachers wise. Teachers, I think the soccer coach, they were really good. Where they really emphasized that sports were great, but always academics came first.
Yeah.
So
and this is at Everett now.
yeah, that's an Everett.
Okay.
Yes, because the minute could be the best player if you were failing grades, you'd be out of the team.
Yeah.
So they always made it known for us that it was important for us to get both done if you wanted to stay in sports.
And did that you mentioned earlier that you were kind of a laid back student. Did that change your attitude at all, or did you remain laid back and just kind of do what you had to do? And that's okay if that's the answer.
That didn't change it a whole lot because I think I see myself as a very like a people person where I like interacting with people.
Yeah.
And whenever they try to put me into honor classes or AP, I'm like, then I have to do that much work. I see all the nerds doing it, during their lunch breaks, after school. I can't party on a Tuesday anymore. Like, no. I was like, yeah, I'll stay here. I'll get my B's. And,
I'm going to hang right here.
Yeah.
I'm not missing the Tuesday party.
Yeah. Well, but nowadays I see that was not a very good move, academically speaking. But at the time, that's the choice I made.
That's the choice you made. So, but now you sort of, and do you end up going to college?
I do.
And where do you go to college?
I actually first again, I wasn't much of a academics person, so I took a year off. Went to work with my dad. I think at the time he has a painting company, still has, and then I was like, oh, you know what? I gotta do something.
Yeah.
I don't like school, but I think it's important to have that piece of paper.
Yep.
So now I'm out of school or high school, so there's no more counselors kind of guiding you through the applications or grants or anything like that. So I ended up going to North Shore Community College in Danvers because I knew that it was a gateway into university later on that I was thinking of. But at that time, right, I did all on my own, paying out of my own pocket. I started part-time. I was already working full-time now. I think
this is at North Shore. You started part-time while you're working full-time.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
And you're figuring out that you got to get some sort of academic background in order to better yourself going forward.
Exactly. Because I think opportunity is only good if you're prepared for it, right?
Ooh, I like that.
Write that down.
Yeah.
Because if your opportunity knocks and you're not prepared for it, well,
it passes you by. It goes to the next guy.
So that was my thinking at the time. I wasn't sure yet if I was going to stay living here in the U.S. or go back. So I figured, hey, if I go back, at least I have a diploma from here, right? I go back. I speak English now. It'd be, something else on my curriculum, to get better wherever I go.
Yep.
So that's why I started going part-time and I started actually thinking I was going to do dental hygienist, and then I was like, yeah, no, can't do it. Actually, my friend talked me out of it because my dad is a dentist. He said that's like a dominated by women.
Yeah, it is.
Like you have a hard time
busting into that.
So that rapidly changed into radiology. I'm like, 2 years, I can do that.
Okay,
it's a lot of bones.
Yeah,
but I can manage 2 years.
Okay,
until I get into I think it was anatomy class. It was tough.
Yeah,
the lab and the and all those classes that I had to do. And it wasn't just about the bones. It was a lot more that I had to learn in science.
Yeah.
Because I've always been a numbers guy. I like numbers. So for me, the science was tough.
Yeah.
I had to spend hours to study versus a lot of people in class already worked in the field. So for them, it was much easier learning. I was painting, right? I was scraping walls. It was like, yeah, this is not going to work. So I withdrew that semester. Then I went back into business management, and I figured, okay, business management is sort of a broad area, can apply to anything. My parents both have businesses, if anything, right?
Right.
I can always take over. That's what I pursued. Then eventually, it took me a while to get my associates. At that time, also the time I got married.
Oh wow! So how old are you while all this is going on? Because you're moving right along here, but so. You're bouncing in and you're moving around in academia.
Yeah.
You're working for your dad painting.
Well, my dad was I worked with him, but then after maybe 2 years or so, I left him and went into the auto industry.
Okay.
Yes.
Doing what?
I started as a salesperson, and then eventually became a manager.
And how did that happen? But I mean, that's pretty.
The manager position?
Well, it's just a big difference going from painting to selling cars. Like, so how did you get into selling cars?
Yeah, actually a friend of mine is also a mentor, as you asked, about mentors before. He got into the industry. So he's my brother's age, so about 3 years older than me. We used to hang out a lot. But after, high school is over, he was doing very well in the auto industry. And, we used to go out on the weekends and stuff like that. And then he tells me how good it is, and, what he, financially do. So I tried to get in there first. I couldn't because of my driving record.
Ooh, yeah.
What happened there?
See, nothing crazy. Nothing crazy. It's just one of those moves, right? I don't know about you, but where I grew up, it was big. The culture is, to have a lowered car, loud, right?
Yeah.
Take out your front plate.
Danny had one of those.
Take out your
I
front
also had
plate.
some driving issues as a teenager, so I feel your pain.
You're, instead of having the regular lights, you change it to yellow.
Yeah.
All that dumb stuff that my parents told me not to do.
Yeah.
I was
So dumb.
I was doing it, and then one pull over. Yeah, okay. So one infraction for being too low, too loud.
Yeah, wrong lights.
Exactly.
Tinted windows.
The list goes on. So maybe I got 2 speeding tickets over time, but nothing. I would say like insane as other friends would do. My friends would get caught drifting and racing and all that stuff.
Yeah. You weren't doing any of that.
No, but it wasn't good enough to get a job though, right? Because when you look at your record, okay. So after the record got sort of cleaned, I got back into the industry, and right in my backyard, right at Honda Cars of Boston at the time. Not my governor, but it's right in Everett, where I grew up. So that's how I got into the auto industry because a friend of mine, told me.
Clean up your act, and I'll get you a job over here.
Well, he was actually at a different make, but he told me how good he was, just being able to work in that industry.
Yeah.
And I really found passion about it. It wasn't so. I got in because of the finance portion, because being in sales, there's no cap.
Yeah. You can make whatever you can make.
Exactly. You get paid on your production, and at first it's scary, right? Because you don't know how you're gonna do.
Yeah.
Am I gonna be able to get it done? But once you get the hang of things, it's like, wow, I like this.
Yep.
You want to make a trip? All right, let's sell a couple more. We can pay for that trip. But then eventually, as they saw my potential and my eager to learn, another mentor within that company, he kind of, I was, I don't know, maybe 1 out of 20 salesperson there. And he taught me the business. He taught me the credit industry. He taught me, how to get people approved and stuff like that. And I was the only salesperson that actually had access to submit my own applications with the community that I was working with, which was mostly with the Latinos or Brazilian community. So I was the only one that had that. I was the only one that had my own marketing budget, because I started doing advertising on newspapers, on magazines at the time, on radio stations, out of my own pocket. And once they saw the return, it was like they start funding me that, and yeah.
And then eventually you move into a managerial position.
Yeah, so they start offering me the position, but before I got offered the position of manager, I was newly married. I got married in 2011. I joined the company back in 2010. And newly married. My wife she was fresh out of the boat. fresh off the boat. Fresh out of the boat. Fresh off the boat.
Out of the boat.
But she was new from Brazil.
Okay.
So she still doesn't have a family that lives here. But I was working, weekends, holidays, 1 day off a week.
How did you date her when you were here and she was there?
Oh, I can do a quick summary on that one.
Okay.
All right.
Dying for it.
Before Amazon was even done, maybe Amazon was done, but she was delivered to my house.
She was a delivery woman to your house?
No, she was delivered to my house.
She was delivered to your house.
She's looking at me. It's like, what? How is this possible? Nowadays, that exists. No. Go ahead.
No, I'm waiting.
So, because there's two
My
parts.
wife was also delivered to my house, but go ahead.
There are 2 parts of the story. One, along with the manifest, I think I'm a believer. So is my family, And once my mother saw the lifestyle I had, going out and stuff like that, she always prayed a lot that I could, eventually stop with the lifestyle and find someone that would kind of,
Tame
to build a family.
Yeah,
to build a family.
Get you focused on things.
So long story short, my wife's grandmother knew someone who knew my mother.
Okay.
All right. My wife was in her last semester in college. Or actually, she finished ahead.
In Brazil.
In Brazil. She finishes ahead. So she has about, 6-9 months before her actual graduation. So she wants to come to U.S. to study English because she's a civil engineer. And, if you have English, will help you get better jobs. So that connection of friends gets a hold of my mother. They have a house with many rooms. So yeah, my friend's granddaughter is going there and she wants to stay at someone's house that she knows or, won't let her go to party because she has similar.
Someone that will keep an eye on her.
Yeah, she had a similar lifestyle than I had here.
Oh.
Yeah. So she's like, yeah, she stayed here. So that's how I met her. She was delivered to my house.
Literally delivered to your house.
Literally. And she was there for about 3.5 months. That's when we met. And at that time, I had a flexible schedule. I wasn't at the auto industry yet. So I got to show her around. She needed to drive, drop off her here, pick up her there at school, stuff like that.
You would take care of that.
Absolutely.
You were volunteering happily.
100%.
You were like, I'll go.
Yeah.
Yes, she needs a ride. Yep, I'm with me. I'll do it.
I even got her a cell phone.
Oh, you did.
Absolutely.
That's smart.
Hey, you gotta stay in touch, I saw the potential there. I saw the potential.
A cell phone with one number programmed into it.
And this is the time there was no FaceTime. There was none of the, social media nowadays.
Right.
Back in 2010. So I think the only social media then was MySpace and Orkut.
Yeah.
If that,
maybe Facebook might have been around. Maybe.
No, Facebook started afterwards.
I think.
Yeah, or right
after
about.
MySpace,
yeah, right after that. But so. Yeah, that's in 2009. We meet, and then right after she goes back, we start dating overseas, and then we are away for 10 months. She comes here for a weekend. We get engaged.
Boom.
Wow, just like that.
Lock
Just like that.
it up.
And then 6.
Lock it out.
Jesus.
Whoa.
Yeah.
Touched a nerve with that
I
one.
certainly did.
And then there's October, and then she comes back 5 months later, spends 20 days here, and then at that time we decided that in 3 months we get married.
Boom.
Wow.
Yes.
Did you get married in Brazil or here?
Here.
But that was so that the whole courting process was probably almost 2 years though, if I'm adding the math up.
Well, we started dating in January 2010. We got married in 2011, July 2011.
Yeah, so 18
a year
months.
and a half.
Yeah.
Year and a half total.
And so you've been married now 12 years,
Correct.
2 children,
Yes.
and at some point your career takes you to mortgages.
Yes. So going back to Wendel, how'd you get into management position was that at my wife, because we're newly married, she's like, oh, I need you, more often at home. And then so I go to my mentor at work and I say, hey, I need Sundays off because, he's a believer too. I'm a believer. It's like, I need to go to church and you should be with my wife. I was like, well, Wendel, even those that are not believers, they want Sundays off. And this is probably my second, maybe third year in to the company. Yeah, so my second year in 2012 or so. And he goes like, I'll give you Saturday and Sunday off. And on auto industry, taking Saturdays off.
That's the moneymaker.
Exactly. But again, I had my clientele. I had already things going. I went back to her and, we decided that was the best thing to do. And those 3 years that I was a salesperson Monday through Friday were the years I sold the most amount of cars.
Really?
Absolutely. Because again, we are believers and we prayed and believe that, because of the choice we made was family oriented.
Yeah.
That I was being blessed those 5 days a week.
So you manifested it.
As well, yes. And then they kept on pushing the management position to me through the years because they saw the potential I had. But then I had to go back to the weekends.
Oh, okay.
So I kept on saying no. And then my wife gets pregnant. I think it was beginning of 2014. Yes, because my daughter was born in August. So my wife was about to enroll to get her master's. Because again, she's a civil engineer in Brazil. Here, she's not, right?
Yep.
Because she needs to go back to school here. So as she's going through the whole process, studies to get into school, all that stuff, she found out she's pregnant. So that goes down the drain.
Right.
Because now
The baby or the career?
her going back to school. And I was going to school as well, paying out of my own pocket. And this time I already graduated from North Shore.
Yep.
Now I'm at UMass Boston, continuing education. And I was like, okay, so now you're going to stop working, right? Because you're going to get pregnant and have a child, and we want that to happen. So at that point, we made a decision that was a career growth for me. So I stopped school. I never got my bachelor's and went into the management position at that point, yes.
And how long did you stay in that manager position?
Let's see here. It wasn't until I left, because I started as a the first time they ever tried was with me, a hybrid manager, where a few days of the week I'll be a sales manager and the other days of the week I'll be a finance manager.
Okay.
But then it was hard because some of the tasks carried over to the next day, but I'm not on that role.
Yeah.
So eventually I just it was a mutual decision where I just went into the finance manager position.
Okay.
And I stayed there until I left. That was in 2018.
Okay. And in 2018, what do you do?
In 2018, I was actually offered, a friend of mine is a regional manager for Bank of America. And then he goes like, Wendel, I got an opening position here for management, and I'd like you to fill that position. And I felt that I had hit a ceiling at the company with Honda, and there were changes with the company that it wasn't working out for us anymore.
Sure.
And going into the banking, right, then you have your weekends free.
Yeah.
And I was thinking I was doing a good thing,
Yeah.
right? Salary is a pay cut, yeah, but it's no salary.
Set steady.
Yeah.
You know your hours. You
Exactly.
can plan your life.
And I'm very grateful for the opportunity. I was there for 2 years, but it was very tough years for me.
Yeah.
Because, again, I was so used to that commission and that no cap that the more I produce, the more I get. And there wasn't there. And then, I walked in as a manager, great, but then it was, like drinking water out of a fire hose.
Yeah.
It's a finance industry, yes, but it's a whole different world,
Yeah.
than auto industry. And, I felt I was going to drown at some points.
Yeah.
Anxiety kicks in, and then your family obligations.
Yep. We know those feelings.
It wasn't easy those 2 years, but even before I go into Bank of America back in 2015, right, those years that I'm there, I'm building up clientele 4 or 5 years in. I wasn't just the salesperson that sold your car and see ya. I would teach people about their credit, how to get better rates, how to trade in their cars. Do you need a car now? If you don't, let's work in your credit and do it 3 months from now, get you better terms.
Yeah.
Or don't trade in 6 months into your car. You have a negative equity, of a lot.
Yeah.
Keep it for another year. We'll talk about it in a year. So I was never that salesperson that, wanted that sale quickly. And to this day, I left, 2018. I still get calls. People want to buy cars with me.
Right.
Because they like the way, so I saw their sons, their kids, the whole family. And the benefit of that is now they know I do mortgages. Those clients, I still do their mortgages
Now you do their mortgages.
Oh, yes, I have done a lot of those, because they like the services and our honesty and transparency. So as I'm teaching people and they're coming back, hey, Wendel, I'm happy. I got my house. Thank you for teaching me about credit, the utilization, all that stuff. So I'm like, wow, I want to do bigger things.
Yeah.
I don't want to do just cars. Cars are great. You buy it once in a while. You probably remember your car purchases. But then homes are much bigger. I want to do bigger, but I was afraid of the transition again, right? I was there for so many years, clientele, then start all over into a new industry, commission again, and I had a family now, right? So I made this jump into the banking industry, which was sort of a safe jump. But then I was like, I learned, this is not so hard.
Yeah.
Learning a new career. So during those 2 years is where I was like, all right, I know I don't want to be here. I definitely want to do the mortgage because that's something I already had in me. Back in 2015, I just never had the opportunity to study or, pursue. So my wife picked me up, went to, school, got my license. Because I had the opportunity to do the loan rate within the Bank of America.
Yeah.
But there are sort of limited to the programs they have.
Yep.
So I'm like, no, I want to, be at somewhere that I have options for my clients. And that's when I went out and got my license and ended up into mortgages.
Okay.
Yes.
So what year did you get your mortgage license?
That was right in the pandemic. That was in
2020.
2020, yes.
2020. What a year that was.
Oh, yeah.
And now where are you? You're at cross country.
Yes, I'm with cross country, yes.
And how long have you been there?
I started in December 2020, so 3 years and
So
a few months.
that's the only place you've been.
No, actually, because I left corporate world, right? I wanted to go into a small shop. I want to go to a broker, local one, that is the owner, maybe 2 people.
Yep.
I want to be,
Come and go as you please.
exactly. I don't want to deal with compliances because with big banks, they have audits. What's it called? You don't know when the auditor's coming in.
Yeah.
And then you're always like, oh, is it today? Is it today? Like, is that something over your shoulder? I'm like,
That's how with Dan.
Yeah.
Is he coming in today?
Oh God, here he comes.
Compliance guy's here.
Yeah, it wasn't easy. I mean, as a client, I love that that they have that, but as workers, it was hard.
Yeah.
So I made a decision. Didn't work because there was no structure in place. There was no training. There was I was again drowning. Right.
Yeah.
3 months into the business, hadn't closed anything, couldn't see where I was going in the next few months, and then someone that I sold a car to was a loan officer, a manager now at a cross country mortgage. He reached out to me and invites me for coffee. I was like, hey, Wendel, let's have coffee. I was like, all right, sure. I knew what was going to turn into.
Yeah.
So we have coffee, and then as we're walking away, I was like, all right, so where's my offer?
Yeah.
Oh, you want to offer? I'm like, come on, you're nice, but I have kids.
Right.
It's like, we're not spending here 2 hours of our time, to get to know each other.
Just to catch up.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So I was like, all right, so he comes in with an offer that was reasonable, and then that's when I joined him.
And that's when you joined them.
And then I haven't looked back since.
That's great.
And where do you live now?
I lived right in the middle of the pandemic. I actually lived to North Shore, right in Raleigh.
Raleigh.
Mhm.
That's way up.
It is.
That's
yeah,
way
it's
up.
A lot of
By
people
Georgetown?
right next to it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yep,
Yeah.
yep.
Nice area up there.
I always got to give people a point of reference because they don't know where it is. So, all right, do you know Topsfield? Great.
Yeah.
You know Newburyport?
Yeah.
Great. I'm in between.
You're right in between.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a nice area up there.
Yes.
It is. I
Uh,
was very hesitant. I did not want to move. I wanted to stay because in Brazil, I was in the city. Here, I grew up in Everett. I lived in Revere, so city.
Yeah.
So that's all I knew. I wanted to stay in the city, but then my wife was like, "Oh, let's check out Linfield and let's Danvers and Sagas and start moving up." And we couldn't find homes at the time, right? It was tough finding homes, and then eventually we ended up there in Raleigh.
And you love it.
I love it. I couldn't be happier than tell all my clients now that I get pre-approved. They're trying to stay within the city. I'm like, you're missing out.
Yeah.
Don't. Yeah, like you should consider 20 minutes, 30 minutes drive because it's worth it. Especially if you have kids.
Yep.
Like I don't even lock my. I shouldn't say this. But,
What's the address?
And he lives at 114.
but that's how it is.
Never miss
over
an
there,
opportunity.
The difference between living in Revere, living up there, like your neighbors,
Right.
who goes to school.
Yeah.
You don't have to worry about locking your car, locking your doors, or worried about if your kids is playing outside because it's
It's safe.
It's that nice. Yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Well, that's wonderful. And if I had to sort of recap or at least talk about it, sounds like probably the biggest nudge was that move into the car industry later, for your professional career, because you parlayed all of those relationships into clients that are still existing and jobs at cross country mortgage.
Yeah, absolutely.
yeah.
I never thought of it, but
yeah,
now that you
that's
said
why
it,
we bring you on the show, baby.
But yes, absolutely. I think that was I think the biggest career growth was there. I had other jobs before that, but that was the biggest career move growth because I went from a salesperson to management. And
Yep.
I was there for 8.5, almost 9 years.
Yeah, it's a long time.
Mhm.
And in your formative business career years, right? I mean, what ages were you there?
I started. So this is back in 2010. I was 20. I started 22.
Started in 22.
I was 22 years
You were
old
22 years old
Mhm.
and went till when?
until I was 30.
Yeah. So those are pretty formative years.
Yeah.
Well, thank you. I got my my exiting story here that I'm going to tell. But before I do that, I want to say thank you to Wendel. And it's funny how things work out because I actually think that this little story that I have here complements what you said about what I found very interesting about sort of customer service and we've all had that car buying experience where you go in and it's like, buy it now, buy it now, buy it now, right? And you don't want to buy it now, or whatever the case may be. So there's a little boy who's on the telephone at a diner, and the guy behind the counter is watching him on the phone, and he hears him talking, and he's on the phone with a woman on the other end, and the little boy says, "Ma'am, do you want me to come over and cut your lawn?" And the woman says, "No, I already have somebody that cuts my lawn. I pay someone to do it, and they do a great job." And the little boy says, "Well, I'll do it for half price." And the woman's, she stays firm. No, I really like the guy that's cutting my lawn here. The little boy says, "No, but I'll sweep the porch for free, and I'll sweep the walkway for free. I won't charge you anything." And the woman stands strong, and finally the little boy gives up, but he hangs up the phone, and he's smiling. And the guy behind the counter comes over, and he says, "Young man, I heard you on the phone. You were, really trying to get a job, and I like your spirit, and you had a smile on your face, and I want to offer you a job." And the little boy says, No, thank you. I don't want a job." And the shop owner says, what do you mean? You were just begging for a job." And the little boy says, "Sir, I was calling my client to confirm that she was happy with the services that I was giving her.
Wow.
And so I was just checking in to make sure that she was happy and she wouldn't leave me." And the guy was astounded. And so the message is essentially, be exceptional, and you'll have that irreplaceability that is job security. So I think that's what you were doing, right? Absolutely. So I think the story fits nicely. That little boy was just checking. He wanted to make sure he was doing such a good job that he wouldn't lose his job. And I feel like you were doing the same thing trying to serve your clients the right way. And as a result, you kept your clients.
Yes.
Maybe you lost the sale that week or that month, and you didn't sell 10 cars. You sold 9, or you sold 8, or whatever the number was. But 2 months later, you sold 15.
Exactly.
Yeah. So I love that. I love it. And I think we try to give decent customer service around here. It's one of the things that we try to use to differentiate ourselves between crowd lending and everybody else out there. Well, Wendel, you have a wonderful story.
Thank you.
Much appreciated. Yeah, I'm glad you came on. We ask one question. Keithy, what's the question?
Is there anything you'd like to say that you hadn't said during
Any
the podcast?
story you want to tell, anybody that you want to thank, anybody that pops into your head? And if the answer is no, then that's okay.
Oh, I definitely want to give a shout out to my family, my beautiful wife, Carol.
There we go.
My kids were like, "Dad, make sure you say about us, okay?
Okay.
We're a big part of your life." Julia and Laura. But I think the biggest thing for me, actually, is two. Okay, I'll be quick. First and foremost is my parents, because they didn't speak the language. There were no GPSs. There were no translation. There were nothing. They just went on the limb, pretty much to say, right?
Yeah.
They sold everything they had. They didn't even know they were getting.
Yeah.
We didn't know, right? Seeking a better life for us. And today I'm beyond grateful for what they've done. And actually, they just became citizens a week ago.
Oh, congratulations to them.
Yeah, they just took that citizenship
Good for them.
test. They passed. And secondly, a friend of mine, childhood friend of mine, who I got to see before he passed away about a year or two ago. He was just about my age, so 37, 38 when he passed away. And he very young age, he was always good with arguments.
Yeah.
And he actually became a philosopher.
Okay.
Right.
All right.
However, but he became a teacher, into public schools in Brazil, teaching 2 different schools. And he brought in a different energy where, people actually, that was a wait list to get in his class.
Oh, wow.
Philosophy?
Yeah.
Seriously? Like, who does that? Just because, he could come into class, like costume, boombox, the whole thing. And he, I learned with him this phrase says, sorry if I get it wrong, but it was somewhere along the lines like, I'm sorry for the intensity, but I only have one life, and I don't know for how long it is. So kind of for me is almost the same ideas, right? I got to make the best of it now.
Yeah.
I don't know tomorrow.
Right.
So, yeah, I think those two are something that I wanted to share with everybody here.
Well, we love it.
That's
we love
great.
it. So
Great.
thank you for coming on. Root Beer, thank you. Keithy, as always.
Daniel.
And if anybody needs me, you know where to find me because everybody needs a nudge. Goodbye.